So, as usual, let's begin the session. Um, we talk about in in the past sessions, we talk about how our mind react to things or how the suffering creates within our mind. I will talk a little bit about it in more detail today, so you can observe your mind. The first part of the session, we always talk about the practical elements that we can use in our day to day life. And the second part is more about sitting down and meditating. So I'll talk a little bit about it now. Um, there are three types of dukkha or suffering we talk when we talk about the uh, suffering that creates within our mind and body. So the first one is dukkha dukkha, the general suffering. We all know about it. When we get ill, we get pain, body aches and pains. When we work hard, we get tired, exhausted. All this suffering that we see in our day-to-day life is dukkha dukkha. So there is another suffering called sankhara dukkha that creates within our mind. When we have to work hard or to build a house, we need to think a lot how we are going to build this house, how we are going to get a loan, or how to get a mortgage, how we are going to work this out. Or buying a car, we need to think a lot which type of car we buy, which model we are going to buy, etc. So this thought process causes us tiredness sometimes. This is called sankhara dukkha. Even though we build a house or we buy a house or a car, it won't stay the same and it decays, it wears off. So we call this viparinama dukkha. So this causes us again some sort of dukkha or the pain, viparinama dukkha. Um, Also, sometimes mm, how the mind get tired when we want to do something is um, with the thought process is very difficult, it's exhausting. Even if you imagine you want to buy a car and then your mind is always working on this in your mind. So even when you go to the road, you see the models of cars that you have never seen before. You see different types of models. Oh, why didn't I see this before? You may start thinking. So it continuous. That's why it's causing so much distress until you get it. But then it begins the viparinama dukkha, the dukkha that causes by decaying things or this getting old, wear off. And then um, for example, there are other ways that we can get this suffering or dukkha. When the sammata or normalization breaks down, the normality break changes. When a 90-year-old person dies, we would say, oh, she or he had a good life. They lived such a good life and they are passed away. And so it's a normal thing for us. We will say that he or she will go to a good place. So that's a normal thing. We get upeksha, upekha in Pali, upeksha in Sanskrit, the two same word, neutral feeling. We get a neutral feeling in our mind. But if we hear a 25-year-old person passed away, it causes us suffering. We would say, oh, why did he die? What happened to him? Was he ill? Oh, such a shame that he was doing so well and this happened to him. So this, when the sammata or the normalized way pattern breaks, then it causes suffering, because we have ditti or drushti, or a view in our mind. We created this ditti in our mind that when people get old, they die. This ditti changes, then it causes suffering. And also sometimes um, the it can help to develop wisdom as well. Wisdom, or the sati, or sati is mindfulness. So Pali word sati, the meaning is mindfulness. So if we make mistakes, sometimes we regret, we become very distressed. I remember a few years ago, I sent a confidential email to wrong person, and I was asked why I sent it, and I was so panicking. And at that time, I think my meditation practice was also not that developed at that time. So the sati was a bit low, and I thought I should leave the job because I did a big mistake. Um, Thereafter, I developed my sati, or the mindfulness. So every time I check the name quite a few times, um, before sending it to the into somebody. So mistakes or the suffering um, can help us to develop our sati as well, the mindfulness. So they're not all bad things. Sometimes the suffering can help us to develop things. For example, we went to buy a house and we went on a path uh, to buy get a mortgage. And if there were some struggles and they were asking us so many documents and things, then our wisdom also develops. We start how to gather this information. Next time I need to be more wise and use wisdom before doing something. So this suffering is not always a bad thing. Um, if we become ill, we can look at our mind to see how this suffering is creating. So we panic when we have an illness. We always think, we always want to get rid of it as soon as we get it. We call the doctor, we go for medication, and all this happens. But it's good to observe our mind instead, to see whether how the mind works. I'm not saying not to go to a doctor or take medication. We need to do that. But to see how the mind works, how we can become distressed on such occasions. Um, the mind always like good things to happen. When a bad thing happens, then the distress comes. um, Life can be 50-50, or good 50% and bad 50%. That's how the life is. Or maybe some people it's 80%, 20% bad. Some people 20% good, 80% bad. So it depends on um, those who believe the karma and things. It's what we have done and all these things. So all these things affect, come to play. So uh, also, when we always, our thinking pattern, I thought talk about it last time, the kusala mula padicca samuppada, the wholesome thinking. If our thinking is always focusing on the wholesome side, then the unwholesome thoughts will become less powerful, and they will not come to our mind that often. The worrying thoughts, frustration, anger, too much attachment, this will gradually start to get low power, because our thoughts are always um, on the path to Kusalamula side. So with a Satpurusha, or the good kalyana mitta or somebody guides us to understand what is good and bad in the world, how to live the lives, and what should be doing, all these, and then avijja pajja, then avidya. Then we take this knowledge and follow it, and pajja sankara, then the thought starts to process, and then these thoughts, um, Sankara can be all three: Kaya Sankara, Vachi Sankara, Mano Sankara, the thinking, words, and the actions. So we do all the wholesome actions, wholesome thinking, wholesome words. Sankara Pacha Vijnana. Everything develops in our mind according to the wholesome pathway. So studying well, getting a good job, and then helping the world, and um, also looking after our families, and all these good things, the wholesome thoughts will develop wholesome vijnana, nama rupa. Within our mind, the pictures, imagination comes to the mind, that we see things, that um, how it's going to be. In our mind, we imagine. Nama-rupa Pacha Salayatana, our sense organs, helps us to go further with these things. We need to see, we need to hear, we need to use all our sense organs. And actually here, I call it sense organs because I'm explaining simply, for simple way, but um, even the eyes, not the physical eye, there is a chakku vijnana there. So salayatana is the unseen ayatana. Um, it changes, depends on what we see and what we gain. So I will not go to that in detail because it can complicate. Later on, gradually, I will go in detail how the it's like we put somebody, a crow in a cage, we call it crow's cage. If we put a parrot in it, we call parrot's cage. Like that, when we get images, it changes within our mind what's we are gathering there. So it has lots more information. So I will go into that later stages. So salayatana pacha passo. Passo means the we. It touches our um, sense organs. Pasapacha Vedana, the three types of Vedana I mentioned in the beginning. um, Sankara Vedana, Sankara Dukkha, Viparinama Dukkha, or Dukkha Dukkha. Three ways we get the Dukkha. Pasapacha Vedana, Vedana Pacha tanha. If we like something, then the tanha or the craving happens. We like it more and more. If we don't like something, we want to get rid of it. So tanha pacha upadana. We cling on to something if we like it. Upadana pacha bhava. Then we get the bhava. Um, we wanted to uh, um become a teacher, then the bhava teacher us bhava, and then bhava pacha we bhava pacha jati jara marana shoka parideva dukkha domanas. It won't stay there the same as we wish. We may lose the job, we may have to get ill, we cannot go and do the work anymore. Anything can happen. So that's where the viparinama dukkha comes to play. So it changes. So even to improve our practice, we need to develop sati, samadhi, virya, and prajna. That means sati means mindfulness. We need to be mindful of what is happening within our mind, what is happening in the environment. Um, our practice, where are we now? Are we practicing well? Mindfulness. Sati. Samadhi is concentration. Do we have enough concentration? Even, concentration is samadhi's mithya samadhi can be there as well. You may have seen cats how how they put concentration to catch a squirrel or something. They focus so much concentration. That's mithya samadhi. And even to develop our meditation practice, we need to develop the samadhi concentration well, and we need to put effort. If we do just once a week, it's not enough. We need to put effort to develop this practice. Then the virya develops, and then the prajna. The fourth one is prajna. Then our wisdom develops. We can see things better. We have not seen before, etc. So I think that's enough for today. Um, uh, I wanted to talk about the suffering, how the suffering creates within our mind, and also about this, how to develop our sati, samadhi, virya, and prajna to develop our path. So let's focus on the karmasthana, chanting, and then we can end the session. Okay, everyone, let's sit somewhere that is comfortable and try to keep our posture straight, so it helps to um, focus well. Um, let's bring our mind to our body. If it is, because as you know, my mind is known as a monkey mind. It likes to run from our, everywhere. It's like, even this minute we can go to China, USA, anywhere within such Durangamang Ekacharang Asariran Guhasayang. That's how the mind is explained in Pali text. The mind, Durangama, means it can travel far. Asariran Guhasaya, it doesn't have a body, but it stays inside our body, but it can run away, and so we need to bring it to our body, and then we can focus. So let's take 3 long breaths to our belly area. Full breath to our lungs. Slowly inhale and slowly exhale. Let's focus on the air element. We have air, water, fire, and earth and space. The 5 elements: Apo, Tejo, Vayu, Patavi, Akash. So out of those elements, it's easy to focus on the air element. How the air flows within our body from the nasal cavity, it goes through the lungs and it goes around the body. Air is a very important element. We don't think about it because we can't see. In Ayurveda, it's called pranavayu when it's going to the respiratory system. It helps to talking, Udanavayu, and then Vyanavayu, movements in the stomach, Samanavayu, Apanavayu, helps with our elimination process. So the air is very important, even though we don't give a big priority to it. So let's focus on the air element, the light nature of the air, the quality of the air. How it moves around the body. We feel calmer and relaxed when we focus on the air element. We feel calmer and lighter. Today we are going to chant a Karmasthana, Kamaloka Anatai. That means in the human worlds, we try to fulfill our desires, sensory, um, sensory pleasures, we sensual pleasures, we try to fulfill our desires, but it never can fulfill. We watch television, but never, our desires never get fulfilled. And we listen to songs, but there is no satisfaction. We, no matter how much we listen, it's the same. We need to listen more. So sensual pleasures cannot fulfill. And Rupaloka Anathai, there are heavens that they, the Brahma gods, they focus on the light. Their food is light, but still they have some desires that cannot be fulfilled. Arupaloka Anathai. There are some heavenly words, there is no body, but just the mind. But still they are not happy. They're still wanting, and things and the desires are there. And we say Nivanamanata, the fully enlightened mind, which does not seek or go after desires or ashwata. That's where the full happiness comes. That is the vimukti, nibbana, different words we use for this. That's a state that doesn't have dukkha or suffering. So let's chant this karmasthana. Kamaloka anatai, rupaloka anatai, arupaloka anatai, siyaluloka anatai. So not getting attached to things bring happiness. Letting go of things brings peace. And having a blissful mind is peaceful. අතහැරීම නාතයි අතහැරීම වෙත්වා නොඇලීම නාතයි නොඇලීම වෙත්වා මිදීම නාතයි මිදීම වෙත්වා නිවනම නාතයි නිවනම වෙත්වා නිවනම නාතයි නිවනම වෙත්වා නිවනම නාතයි නිවනම වෙත්වා කාම ලෝක අනාතයි රූප ලෝක අනාතයි අරූප ලෝක අනාතයි සියලු ලෝක අනාතයි අතහැරීම නාතයි අතහැරීම වෙත්වා නොඇලීම නාතයි නොඇලීම වෙත්වා මිදීම නාතයි මිදීම වෙත්වා නිවනම නාතයි නිවනම වෙත්වා නිවනම නාතයි නිවනම වෙත්වා නිවනම නාතයි නිවනම වෙත්වා නිවනම නාතයි නිවනම වෙත්වා. The fully enlightenment is the thing that can bring the full happiness or the peace to a person's mind. Kamaloka anatai. Sensual pleasures cannot fulfill the desires. Rupaloka anatai. Even the Rupalokas, you cannot fulfill the desires. Even Arupalokas, you cannot fulfill the desires. Siyaliloka, all the worlds have the same quality. Ataharima natai. Getting not attached to things can bring peace. Letting go of things bring peace. Living, having a blissful state brings peace. Kamaloka anatai. Rupaloka anatai. Arupaloka anatai. Siyalu loka anatai. Ataharima natai. Ataharima වෙත්වා නොඇලීම නාතයි නොඇලීම වෙත්වා මිදීම නාතයි මිදීම වෙත්වා නිවනම නාතයි නිවනම වෙත්වා නිවනම නාතයි නිවනම වෙත්වා නිවනම නාතයි නිවනම වෙත්වා. Let's chant the usual karmasthana. Etan santang etan panitang yadidan sabba sankara samatu. When the sankara, the thought process in the mind becomes calmer, we feel blissful. When the attachments are less, we feel blissful. Roaming mind, clinging mind becomes calmer. We feel the blissfulness. Etang santang, etang panitang, yadidang sabba sankara samatu, sappupadi pati nissago, tanhakayo virago nirodho nibbananti. Etang santang, etang panitang, yadidang sabba sankara samatu, sabbupadi pati nissago, tanhakayo virago nirodho nibbananti. When the mind becomes calmer, we feel peaceful. When we get less attached, the roaming mind becomes calmer. The cravings, the clinging becomes less. We feel blissful. Etang santang, etang panitang, yadidang sabba sankara samatu, sappupadi patinissago, tanhakayo virago nirodho nibbananti. Kamaloka anatai, Rupaloka anatai, Arupaloka anatai, Siyaluloka anatai, Atharima natai, අතහැරීම වෙත්වා නොඇලීම නාතයි නොඇලීම වෙත්වා මිදීම නාතයි මිදීම වෙත්වා නිවනම නාතයි නිවනම වෙත්වා නිවනම නාතයි නිවනම වෙත්වා නිවනම නාතයි නිවනම වෙත්වා. We will start to feel blissful and calmness in the mind. Tension, stress will move away. Being pleased and happiness, calmness and blissfulness. Etang santang, etang panitang, yadidang sabba sankara samatu, sappupadi padi nisaggo, tanhakayo virago nirodho nibbananti. Now let's chant the Aloka Karmasthana. When our mind reached blissfulness, it brings wisdom or light. When our body becomes calmer, we can see the peace and the blissfulness. And when our mind is not following the sinful path, mind becomes calmer and brings light or wisdom. The body the same. Light is compared to wisdom. Munindu pudane mage hita alokai. Munindu pudane mage gata alokai. Pauno karane mage hita alokai. Pauno karane mage gata alokai. Munindu pudane mage hita alokai. Munindu pudane mage gata alokai. Pauno karane mage hita alokai. Pauno karane mage gata alokai. Munindu pudane mage hita alokai. Munindu pudane mage gata alokai. Pauno karane mage hita alokai. Pauno karane mage gata alokai. Niwan dakine mage hita alokai. Niwan dakine mage gata alokai. Munindu pudane mage hita alokai. Munindu pudane mage gata alokai. Pauno karane mage hita alokai. Pauno karane mage gata alokai. නිවන දකින වගේ හිත ආලෝකයි. නිවන් දකින මගේ ගත ආලෝකයි. When we have negative energy, negative thoughts, we release the black rays to the universe. When we have a purified mind, we release the white rays. When we release more and more white rays, we attract more and more good karmas we have done in the past, the white karma. This helps with the healing power in a laukika way, in worldly way. It helps with many things. Also, this helps to develop our path as well. And also, the world is full of negative energy. There are wars going on. People are suffering. So lots of negative energy is released to the world. When we send some metta thoughts or loving kindness to the world, it balances. So to balance the world, we can do it in a smaller way even. So let's send some metta thoughts. So let's focus on the right, all the sentient beings on the right. Let's focus on all the sentient beings on either side of the right. Let's focus on front. Let's focus on all the sentient beings on the front. Let's focus on right. Let's focus on all the sentient beings on the right. Let's focus on all the sentient beings on either side of the right. Let's focus on behind. Let's focus on either side of the back. Let's focus on left. Let's focus on either side of the left. Let's focus below, all the sentient beings on below. Let's focus on all the sentient beings above. May all the sentient beings, including myself, release from this sansaric suffering. May all the sentient beings, including myself, release from the disease of samsara. May release from the fears of samsara. May release from the fears of burning samsara. May release from the sansaric raga. May release of the bonds of samsara. May release from the ocean of samsara. May release from the darkness of samsara. May release from the desert of samsara. May all the sentient beings, including myself, attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana. May all the sentient beings, including myself, attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana. May all the sentient beings, including myself, attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana. Let's focus on front. all the sentient beings on front. Let's focus on all the sentient beings on either side of the front. Let's focus on all the sentient beings on right. Let's focus on all the sentient beings on either side of the right. Let's focus on all the sentient beings behind. Let's focus on all the sentient beings on either side of the back. Let's focus on all the sentient beings on left. Let's focus on all the sentient beings on either side of the back. Let's focus on all the sentient beings below. Let's focus on all the sentient beings above. May all the sentient beings, including myself, free from the samsaric suffering. May free from the disease of samsara. May free from the fears of samsara. May free from the burning samsara. May free from the flames of samsara. May freed from the samsaric raga. May freed from the bonds of samsara. May freed from the ocean of samsara. May freed from the desert of samsara. May freed from the darkness of samsara. May all the sentient beings, including myself, attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana. May all the sentient beings, including myself, attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana. May all the sentient beings, including myself, attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana. Let's focus on all the sentient beings in front. Let's focus on all the sentient beings on either side of the front. Let's focus on all the sentient beings on the right. Let's focus on all the sentient beings on either side of the right. Let's focus on all the sentient beings behind. Let's focus on all the sentient beings on either side of the back. Let's focus on all the sentient beings on the left. Let's focus on all the sentient beings on either side of the left. Let's focus on all the sentient beings below. Let's focus on all the sentient beings above. May all the sentient beings, including myself, free from the disease of samsara. Free from the samsaric suffering. Free from the burning samsara. Free from the fears of samsara. Freed from the flames of samsara. Freed from the samsaric raga. Freed from the bonds of samsara. Freed from the ocean of samsara. Freed from the desert of samsara. Freed from the darkness of samsara. May all the sentient beings, including myself, attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana. May all the sentient beings, including myself, attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana. May all the sentient beings, including myself, attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. This ends the meditations part. Let's send the merits to everyone. Let's share the merits. The merits we have gained through this meditation session. It says, even a blinking moment, if we have metta thoughts, it brings immense merits. So we have gained lots of merits through Vipassana meditation and sending merits to the world, to the universe. So the merits we have gained, we are going to share it with our parents who looked after us, who cared for us when we were small, when we couldn't do anything on our own. They were the people who fed us, helped us to cover ourselves from cold. The teachers, those who guided us, anybody, even within a one word, who had showed us the good path. Even if we have done anything wrong to anybody, we will remember them as well. We will share these merits with them. So may they be happy and rejoice with these merits. Also the deities, the unseen, the Brahma gods, those who guide us, those who show us the path. May they be happy and rejoice with the merits and attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana. Also, those who develop this technology, the computers, the houses, roads, vehicles, all these people are helping us. So we should not forget them as well. May they be happy and attain supreme bliss of Nibbana. Those who left us, the past, our relatives and everyone. Let's share these merits with them as well. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. So that comes to the end of the session, everyone. If you have any questions, you can ask.